Good evening. You're watching the main news on HKIBC. I'm Raymond Yeung. Here are tonight's top stories. Police arrest 4 civil servants for allegedly buying medical exemption certificates. Cathay Pacific's recruitment drive soars as the airline looks to increase flights. And human rights advocates win this year's Nobel Peace Prize. 4 civil servants have been arrested on suspicion of buying medical exemption certificates, and more arrests could be on the way. Macy Mock reports.
Police today arrested 3 social welfare department staff and 1 public school teacher for allegedly purchasing medical certificates that exempt them from getting COVID vaccines. The suspects, all women aged 25 to 48, are accused of conspiracy to defraud and face 14 years in jail if convicted. Each spent between $500 and $2,500 for the certificates. So far, 6 doctors, 7 clinical staff, and 26 people who bought certificates have been arrested. Officers are searching for another doctor. The 7 doctors are alleged to have issued over 20,000 certificates without a proper medical consultation. Alan Yeung from Kowloon West Regional Crime Unit said not all those who bought the certificates would be deemed to have acted illegally. Police will seek advice from medical experts and carry out a thorough investigation before making further arrests. Maisie Mock, HKIBC.
Health officials have warned of a possible surge in COVID and flu cases this winter. New COVID infections registered today edged up to 4,369, of which 386 were imported. The virus claimed 2 more lives. Although infections plateaued in the past 2 weeks, there's been a rise in imported cases. Infections in Britain and Singapore jumped, raising fears that Hong Kong could follow. People were urged to get flu and COVID jabs before the winter flu season. Cathay Pacific Airways has kicked off a 2-day recruitment exercise to boost its manpower to cope with future demand. Hong Kong's flag carrier says the basic salary it's offering is competitive. Chloe Fong reports.
Many hopefuls turned up at the Mongkok Hotel today as Cathay Pacific launched a recruitment drive for flight attendants. This applicant said she has been hoping to join Hong Kong's flag carrier since her graduation, but the chance has only just come up. Another applicant said she believed the aviation industry will gradually take off as demand increases. Cathay is offering a monthly basic salary of $9,100 for flight attendants. But a newcomer could get up to $18,000 a month when layover allowances and productivity pay are included. Jeanette Mao, who is in charge of recruitment, said over 1,000 applications have been received.
Compared to previously, yes, it's different. But what I would say is this is competitive. We want to make sure we provide a competitive remuneration for our people so that we continue to attract the best talent to join Cathay Group.
The airline aims to recruit about 2,000 cabin crew over the next 2 years. Cathay already has 6,000 flight attendants, which is sufficient for its current operations. It has added 400 flights after Hong Kong eased COVID measures and plans further increases in coming months. Corporate Affairs General Manager Andy Wang said the airline is also retraining pilots as many were unable to fly in the past few years when COVID crippled the aviation industry. Cathay aims to get another 700 pilots to complement the 2,500 it already has. Chloe Fong, HKIBC.
An online radio host has been sentenced to 32 months in jail for sedition and money laundering. Edmund Wan, who also known as Gigs, was escorted to the district court this morning. He earlier admitted hosting online programs that advocated independence and incited others to resist the Hong Kong government and a Communist Party. The court was told that Yeung used his shows to raise money to support Hong Kongers who fled to Taiwan after the 2019 protests. He was ordered to hand over assets worth nearly $5 million within 6 months or face a longer jail term. The Urban Renewal Authority expects to spend over $10 billion to acquire old tenement and industrial buildings near the To Kwa Wan waterfront. In a rare move, owners and developers can participate in the project. Maisie Mock reports.
2 sites near the To Kwa Wan waterfront will provide around 2,230 flats when their redevelopment is completed in 2033. One site measuring 11,430 square meters is bounded by Ma Tau Kok Road, To Kwa Wan Road, and Meng Lun Street. More than 1,400 families currently live there in tenements that are more than 60 years old. There are also 100 ground floor shops. The Urban Renewal Authority will also redevelop a 8,760 square meter area, currently occupied by 2 industrial buildings just across Ma Tau Kok Road. Acquisition difficulties in earlier projects prompted the URA to consider allowing landlords and developers to participate, but did not clarify.
We are facing some owners holding many interests. They are not willing to selling the properties to URA.
The project includes a 20-meter wide promenade along the To Kwa Wan waterfront. A waterfront plaza will be built between the 2 redevelopment areas.
These 2 open spaces could actually connect the old urban areas to the waterfront and provide a lot of amenities, areas, and visual and ventilation benefits to the community.
The URA expects to spend over $10 billion for acquisition. This woman who lives in a tenement building is happy with the redevelopment, saying her ceiling is beyond repair. But this auto parts store operator said he might become a security guard as there aren't many suitable areas to relocate his business. Maisie Mock, HKIBC.
A luxury yacht belonging to a sanctioned Russian tycoon has docked in Hong Kong after arriving from Vladivostok. The multi-story Nord is worth more than $500 million and is owned by steel mogul Alexei Mordashov, an ally of Russian President Vladimir Putin. The vessel has 20 luxury cabins and 2 helipads. It's been sailing between various ports after the West sanctioned its owner following the Russian invasion of Ukraine. The SAR government said it has no legal authority to take action on sanctions imposed by other jurisdictions. Overseas, the Nobel Peace Prize this year has gone to rights advocates in Belarus, Russia, and Ukraine.
They have for many years promoted the right to criticize power and protect the fundamental rights of citizens. This year's Peace Prize is awarded to human rights advocate Ales Bialyatsky from Belarus, the Russian human rights organization Memorial, and the Ukrainian human rights organization Center for Civil Liberties. Ales Bialyatsky was one of the initiators of the democracy movement that emerged in Belarus in the mid-1980s. He has devoted his life to promoting democracy and peaceful development in his home country.
Thailand remains in deep mourning for the 37 people, mostly children, killed in the country's deadliest mass shooting. Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha visited the northeastern town, where residents are still shell-shocked after the rampage. Winner Wong reports.
A day after Thailand's worst shooting rampage, relatives of those killed are still feeling immense shock and pain. I cried until I had no more tears coming out of my eyes, said Seksan Suraj, who lost his wife. She had been a teacher at the child care center and was 8 months pregnant.
We were very shocked. It's like our heart is broken many pieces. He is very cute. He is so kind. He is so humble. He is our loved one. He is 2 years, 11 months.
Prime Minister Prayuth Chan-o-cha went to the scene of the shooting in Uthai Sawan and offered a floral tribute. The families of the victims have begun funeral arrangements as doctors released bodies after autopsies. The killer was identified as 34-year-old Panya Kamrap, who was sacked from the police force for drug offenses. He stormed the child care center with a gun and knife, killing dozens of children and staff. He continued his rampage as he drove to his home, where he killed his wife and child before taking his own life. Winna Wong, HKIBC.
The Hong Kong stock market lost ground again today, with the market worried about the next set of U.S. economic data. The Hang Seng Index closed 1.5% lower. Investors applied the brakes on automobile stocks, with Great Wall Motor and XPeng each giving up about 6%. The property sector was unable to benefit from promotional discounts for mainland home buyers. CIFI Holdings led the losses, declining over 8%. Now let's take a look at the markets. The Hang Seng ended the day down by 272 points. To the top 10 active stocks, Tencent lost $7.20, the tracker fund down 28 cents, while Alibaba was down by $1.80. BYD Company was down $7.50, Meituan was down $4.20, while JD.com was down $7.40. To the forex trading against the Hong Kong dollar, the euro's at 7.69. Pound sterling at 8.79, while the Australian dollar at 5.03. Over in Europe, the London FTSE is currently up by 12 points. The International Monetary Fund has painted a gloomy outlook, saying the risks of recession are rising. It warned that the situation is likely to get worse before it gets better.
Not tightening enough would cause inflation to become de-anchored and entrenched, so with us for a long time, and that would require interest rates to tighten even more to bring it down, and that would cause tremendous harm on people, but also on prospects for growth. On the other hand, if we tighten too much, too fast, and do so in synchronized manner, we can push many economies into prolonged recession.
On to the weather now. Showers tomorrow will give way to sunny periods. Temperatures this weekend will range between 25 and 31 degrees, becoming cooler and drier next week. Now let's take a look at the weather around the world. That's our main news for Friday night. Join us for more news at 11. I'm Raymond Yeung. Good night.